Okay. Maybe this is just me. Maybe this is just me and scrolling on TikTok, and that's my biggest window into seeing what everybody's doing. But I feel like we're this isn't necessarily related to me specifically. I'm just kind of looking at it as an observer. I think the whole portal of scrolling on your phone and looking at shit, we're approaching the singularity of social media, right? I mean, I think stage one was everybody. Well, stage one was chill. Stage one was people would post videos and whatever, and then that was the end of it. But now we've kind of optimized the situation where if you are Instagram and you see that TikTok did really well with that scrolling feature, moving between shit, out comes Reels, right? Out comes YouTube Shorts. Out comes, blank. So it's, you're looking at it as though it's a situation where it's like, okay, how can we get the most attention per minute or per swipe or anything? It's getting extra funky. I think now more than ever, I need to chill out on my screen time. Whoa. It's getting nuts here. I was trying to think of some kind of Matrix reference to talk about, like with working out. I couldn't think of anything. All I can really say is, at least give a little bit of time out of your day. And shit, you're hardly giving it up, because I know you're like me. I know you've been scrolling on your phone, just looking at random shit for, an unhealthy amount of hours, right? And that's me talking to me as well. So adding 30 minutes on the seated bike to that setup, right? And then just popping a squat, pedaling while you're scrolling, which you were going to do anyway. Not that hard, not that difficult. Here's let me splice in a picture of my cardio setup now. I might need to put a heater in there in the wintertime if it gets cold, but at least for now in the summer, especially in the mornings, it's like 60 in there. It's pretty much perfect. So I threw a sweater on this morning. I was really freaking drenched. But yeah, that's the kicker. So I don't want to turn this chest into a cardio talk, but I swear, having it right there, that's the best. That's peak cardio. Because I've done it before. Actually, I've done it for a long time, where I would go to the gym twice. Once in the morning to do cardio, once later for the actual workout. And I tell you something, not an efficient use of time, because if we got to drive to the gym every morning, that time adds up. That's not passive. That's, potentially an hour, right? You look at the maps, 15-minute drive. But now you got to put your shoes on, you got to get all your stuff ready. You sit in the car for a second. You're not just immediately flooring it out of the driveway, like instantly. So then you sit here, and then you drive, and when you park, you probably sit there for a second too, and then you do the same thing on the way back. That could totally double your transit time from just how long it would normally take to actually get there. Not good, right? Why do you think there's videos of Ronnie Coleman with a treadmill right in his living room, pointing at the TV, so he could get his freaking cardio in? It's because it's nice having it right there. Very convenient, because if you can minimize the time from sort of, well, let's just say thought to action, then the likelihood that you're actually going to take that thought to action is much more likely. Right? How often do you just kind of think about locking in, or maybe you're talking to somebody like, this summer, dude, summer 25, Jason, me and you, Jason, we're locking in. Summer 2025, they're not gonna recognize us when we get back to whatever, come fall, come that next season, But a lot of times those ideas just get fizzled into the air. And I'd like to think that the guys who really do lock in are able to kind of take that extra wasted energy that people have, that they just put out in the world, and it's like they got a butterfly net scooping it up out of the air for themselves, and that's that's kind of half the logic. If you're really, I don't want to say secure, probably, if you're like 100% like totally secure with yourself, and you're real, I don't know, let's just say you're real mature, then you're probably doing whatever it is you're doing simply because you like it and for no other reason. I would not say Yeah, I mean, well, there's no way to judge it like that. But for the most part, I mean, I would like to think I'm working out just because I like to work out. But it's not a bad aspect of it that I know a lot of people don't want to do it just because it's hard. So it's kind of this little bit of a sort of chip on your shoulder thing where it's like, nobody else is doing what I'm doing, and then it makes you feel cooler to do it. If you back when you were a kid in school and your project got picked as like the the freaking example of like, this is how you should all be doing it, or any scenario like that, that just feels good, right? It feels good to be doing something not everybody can do. So that's half of the hype of the working out anyway. But yeah, so it's not I guess it can seem a little daunting to the uninitiated to throw in a whole routine of a 2-hour chunk or even an hour and a half chunk of their day dedicated to working out, something they've never done before. But the sooner you get into it, the better. But of course, if you're here, you're already a long time lifter. You know what you're freaking doing. So plan for chest. Let's try to make a prediction. Of course, I got to warm up and see what feels good, but I think I want to start with incline bench, cable press, then move on to potentially pec deck or cable flies. Maybe do some Smith once I'm pretty exhausted, and then potentially finish with some bent over cable press. That's my guess. But of course, I've got to actually warm up, get my shoulders loose, see how everything else feels, and then judge it from there. Because let's say my shoulder is like a little tense or just I feel a little something, I'm probably not going to want to do insanely heavy bench off the rip. I got to make sure I'm warm and actually ready. The last thing I want to do is tweak something, because in the car I said to myself, 365 on incline, that's happening today, let's make this shit happen, come on. And then I walk into the gym and I'm not ready to do that, and then do it anyway and hurt myself. That's I'll tell you this, in I guess the workout equivalent, that's a fool's gambit right there. Not ideal. So let's 3:45 Sunday. Shouldn't be too freaking packed. All right, exactly the plan. A little heavier than normal. So one thing that's extra fancy about a setup like this is there's just no break, because I mean, think about a regular press or like a Smith machine press, right? That's a good example, because your hands don't move in or out. They're the same distance, it's locked. At the top, you can just straighten your arms and hold it, right? All the weight is just going straight through your bones. I could hold 500 pounds up here. I could definitely not press it, right? So the fact that these cables are so wide, even when I'm at the top, they're still trying to pull my hands apart. So there's no rest. And then at the bottom, it's just a crazy stretch, so it's just a fancier movement, right? Because like with a squat, obviously in the hole of the squat, your quads are going crazy. But you could stand up and hold, I could probably unrack 800. Now, if I tried to squat, it would kill me. So that's what I'm getting at with movements like these. A lot of different kind of ideas. Because if you were to categorize them, there's like light squeezing movements, there's really heavy, like brutish movements like a hard press, and then there's kind of this in between of just torturous, constant tension movements, like something like this. So it's not necessarily that I want to do a different exercise every lift, but I want to do different styles of exercises, So I could do Smith bench really heavy or slow and controlled. I'd almost call that a totally different movement, just because the style is so different. But let's get real here. Probably 4 of these easy, because these feel really good. Okay, come on. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'll try one more with that weight, but I'm gonna have to drop it. It's getting freaking heavy. One thing that's cool about this though, I feel like I've got zero shoulder like tension. You know, like if I ever had a bum shoulder, I'd be doing these almost exclusively. All right. One more, I'm gonna drop 20 pounds and then move on. These feel really freaking good though. This is one thing I'll never understand. Like the idea for someone to be looking at a chest day and think, okay, I'm doing incline whatever. I'm doing hamstring press. I'm doing something. This feels really good. Let's move on to a different movement. I mean, obviously for the variability of the lift, but if it's working, shit man, I'll just do something new next time. I've had workouts where I did like 6 sets of just incline barbell bench and then 1 set of fly to finish. It was a pretty damn good lift, you know, so don't get locked into any kind of convention, right? I mean, you know, no one else is you. As far as I'm concerned, you should be in charge of your own training 100%. You know, take information for what it's worth, but you know, don't be so easily swayable that you're doing a new routine every week. You know, there's just no, that's not a good track for progress, I would say. But one more. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Those were good. Now this will be 12 easy. And just no assisted reps, we'll just pick it up. And get it locked in first. Yeah, but oh, Oh my God, that was good. That was lighter than expected. Let's hit this shit. Let's hit this shit. All right. You think I got 15 again? I think so. That was like 4 minutes of rest.
That shit was flying.
Yeah, this will be good.
So I think you got it.
Whew. And pick a good song.
Go. You got it.
That's good. Oh, that's enough. Oh, thank you. Yes, that's enough. And that was after like 4 sets of cable press. If I can make this a good finisher, that will be all. So that would add up to 7 sets-ish for those cable presses, which were sweet. 2 nice, nasty, heavy sets of incline barbell, which is a movement that's very loaded. I mean, like physically, you've got a lot of load and tension in your chest. Not so much of a squeeze at the top, though, right? Whereas I feel like this is almost, well, I guess this is more stretch and squeeze, just like those incline cable presses were. What is a finisher? I think this would be perfect. A nice little back and forth. Squeezing, heavy, squeezing. That equation adds up to pumped as SHIT. Okay. Sweet freaking relief. This was like a temporary kids' room, and this just happens to be the best lighting in here, and it was always locked, so lucky me. But let's see. So, like I said a second ago, relatively hefty cable presses first, followed by heavy dumbbell or barbell bench, and then now, well, what was last? Yeah, it's a kind of a finisher, kind of downward squeezing set of cable press, more bent over. Yeah, man. That adds up to, I guess, just what we're about to take a look at. But that set of 3 plates on the incline, that's what that's supposed to feel like. That felt pretty good. So I think I'm in, well, I guess it's not like there's specific phases, but I feel like I'm in phase 2 of this bulk, where I'm now really starting to feel it. And it took a while for me to get back to this sort of state from the off season, just from how long it was. That's a lot of time not benching heavy, or at least not super heavy. So now, well, now it's just freaking sweet. No. Oh, goodness. Pump checks are a little shorter when I'm all bulked up, just because it's not as wild. Obviously you're looking at like, a more full chest. Like, let me actually try to do a good vacuum here. Oh, goodness. But you're bigger. But I think I spoiled myself with getting into competition shape, because now I'm excited to get lean again. I almost feel like I might be getting close to the same excitement for being big and lean as I am for being big and, freaking strong and bulked. Which I think, if that's a good balance, you're good. But if you get a little too caught up and sucked into like, oh, I gotta stay lean, I gotta fucking look sweet all the time, all year round, you're never really gonna progress, at least to a degree, you know, because we think about it, working out, newbie gains here in phase 1, rapid progress, you know, year maybe 1.5 to 2 or 3, taper off a little, and usually around there, you're gonna find this kind of slower period where if things aren't in perfect order for progress, no progress will be made, you know? So that's where it's, you gotta keep the gas on, right? Calories, training, consistency, diet. Make sure you got a jug of freaking water all the time so you can stay like maximally hydrated. Because all these things, even though, you know, it's just like it just sounds like stuff you should do, right? It's like, oh, take your vitamins, do your homework, you know, clean your room, just random little, like, just walk, don't jaywalk. It's just little things where it's like, oh, you know, but they've got real consequences. You know, if you're carved up and really full of food, you're gonna be strong the next day. And then you're gonna go harder in the gym, and then you're gonna wanna eat more to recover because of how hard you just worked out. And then you're just on this positive feedback loop, you know, but it won't just happen. You kind of have to, you gotta give yourself that need and then take action because of it, right? You can't go Super Saiyan just because you want to. You got to put yourself in a position where it's like, oh shit. This is where I wish I was better at the editing. I could add the Super Saiyan effect. But you get what I'm saying. Let's get back in the car. Chest done. Chest complete to what I would call my satisfaction. I think, I don't want to say got away with, but I think I probably could have done maybe one more set of those, one more set of something, or maybe made that last one like a drop set or like a super set or something. I think the intensity on sets 1 through 6 was sweet. You know, I'm talking those cable presses. Actually, that last one was a little funky because it was light. I was getting myself excited for a heavy set, and then when I unracked it, I was like, oh, okay, this is a bit more manageable than I expected. But those sets of, actually that first set of incline barbell, that was cool. That was a prime example of what I'm referring to when I say getting hyped up and freaking excited. You know, you got some kind of song playing, you are ready, right? And you're ready to throw some weight around with a pretty dang serious amount of effort. I'm not talking, you know, in relative to anyone else, but you know where your limit is, and you know if you approach it or potentially cross it by really bringing it. You know, I feel like those sets are the ones that set the bar for what all of our training should look like. And then, you know, you can either match it and say, okay, that was a good lift, up to par for what I expect from myself. Or if you exceed it, then you get to say, all right, the bar has been raised. Now this is my new normal, and I gotta reach it every time. And it's also kind of an eye-opener if you can tell you didn't really reach your bar, because then that tells you, all right, I gotta bring it next time, you know. So that's, I think, it's so weird. I never say, or I never think to myself like, okay, I gotta take accountability. But whenever I put these, you know, kind of thoughts into words in here, it makes me sound a little, makes me feel like I'm freaking talking out of a dictionary just to explain myself. But I want to be held accountable and, you know, hold myself accountable for making sure that I bring it, because then I'll have nothing to regret later. You know, if you've ever had weeks where you were off just for whatever reason, you know, just something, maybe something completely out of your control, and you're like, oh, well, nothing I can do but approach the situation as well as I can, you know. But if you really slack and the only person who to blame is you, you're like, I just didn't feel like it, in the future you will regret it. You will regret it, I guarantee it. I've felt it before. It's just not, it's no fun, you know. And that's with everything, you know. Oh man, I've been putting off this, I've been putting off, this is a really good way of thinking about it. I hear this said by a lot of, well, it ends up getting said by a lot of like the 1%er guys, like the crazy CEO billionaire types. But I think it still holds true, because they're always, they'll always say this, I hear it a lot. It's like all of your, or at least a good chunk of anxiety, or just anxiousness, or just, you know, kind of unrest and uneasiness, you know, comes from the fact that you know you should be doing something and you just don't do it for whatever reason. right? Or you just, you pick the easy way out, you slack, you just don't want to, I don't want to, I'll just chill, whatever, and then that kind of, it puts you in this situation, right? It's like you're playing a game and you've got a main quest or even just random ass side quests, and instead of doing them and moving forward, you're just hanging out in the tavern just playing a mini game. Nobody would play, I've never played Elden Ring or anything, but nobody would play it if you didn't go through and do shit and see stuff and just enjoy the story of it. If all you did was just stay in the same spot right in the beginning and just scampered around there doing nothing, right? There's no story, there's nothing to enjoy. And I don't think that's a bad way of looking at just being alive, because it's got a beginning. Unfortunately, it's definitely got an end somewhere, which, shit, man, I mean, we live in a real freaking mortal world. I gotta get hit by a meteor right now. I would, if that actually happened, that'd be terrible, but you know what I'm saying, right? Shit could just happen, so I want to make sure that whatever I end up spending my time doing, even if it's just an hour and a half, I mean, workout from beginning to end. I think I started at like 4:10. It's 5:10 now. I was in there for like barely over an hour doing chest. So 1 hour out of your day, that's less than 5% of your day. But that includes the time you're sleeping. So let's say you're only awake doing stuff for, let's just say 12 hours, right? Let's give the rest of those, because if you sleep 8, that gives you 4 hours of actual dedicated chill time, right? I'm not trying to be like Gary Vee here. I'm not on it 24/7 trying to do shit, So even if you got 12 hours where you're, sometime within that 12, you can put an hour for a workout, or an hour for practicing something, or working on some kind of hobby, or working on just anything that's going to give you a certain gratitude and long-lasting something or other. Shit. Still less than 10% of your day. I think that's worth it, right? Why not allocate that, instead of just letting it slip away, right? So if, it's easy to say it like this, because obviously retrospect is 2020, or hindsight is 2020, So if you could flip a button and say, okay, would you rather live in a reality where for the past 5 years you've been working out, doing your cardio, and you're in solid shape? Or would you rather have the last 5 years you did none of that? Everybody would hit the button, because you'd want to be in a situation where you get to reap the rewards from working out. I mean, everybody wants to be in at least decent shape. So I think it's a minor cost to pay. And for me, I think I'm kind of hypocritical here when I call it a cost, because the workout's fun, right? I mean, even if sometimes I'm like, oh, all right, let's go do the cardio. It's still something I want to do, and I know that I want to do it. So to not do it, it's like I'm disrespecting my own morals. You know what I'm saying, right? Not cool. So that's all I'm trying to get at. But I feel kind of weird saying all that, because obviously if you're here, chilling with me, you work out. You're locking in already. I don't think there's a massive percentage of people tuning into some of these daily lifts where they don't work out at all. Unless you work out and you like showed your buddy, or they were like, wait, why do you keep watching that guy? Or something like that, right? So I guess maybe I should talk from the perspective of lifter to lifter. Sometimes I can tell I end up talking a lot of lifter to non-lifter sort of, hype, almost kind of freaking weightlifting preaching in a way, because I know all the benefits that can be had from it. So I feel like I want to share them, put them out there, right? Live in a world with more people lifting weights. That's what I want to see. But yeah, so chest complete, and frankly, I think I'm gonna go a little heavier next time I do incline barbell. Not too heavy. I don't want to overdo it, right? When I talk about training heavy, I do not mean so heavy you hurt yourself. If you hurt yourself doing too much weight, you are a chump. And I have been in that situation more often than I care to admit, right? I'm talking hamstrings, lats, quads a little, like nothing crazy, so I haven't pushed it too far, but I've definitely been pushing the envelope a little bit. There's a point where it's like, okay, you're lifting light, this is getting heavy, and then there's a line. This is probably as heavy as you should go. Don't go past it, right? But I want to get close to that line. And sometimes if you never approach it, or if you never cross it, you might never know where it is. So that's where I wanna ride it, right there, right in the freaking sweet spot. where I'm going crazy, but I'm not pulling or tweaking or, you know, anything of the sort. You know, I think that's a very prime situation to be in, at least for some of your heavier sets, to push yourself past plateauedness. But I think nothing else to discuss. I've got some back tomorrow, and I think I might bring you along for the cardio in the morning too. It's definitely not the most pristine setup, but as with anything, if it works, it freaking works. So I will see you tomorrow.